If you were always interested in long exposure photography, these simple tips should help you out when you are in the field. And if you're interested, I have also other camera tutorials, they are all linked in the description. The first and most important thing when doing long exposure photography is to use a tripod, and there are various brands and models. Just make sure that it's really sturdy and fixed so it doesn't wobble around when taking long exposures. If you feel that it would tip over due to the elements outside, I would always recommend to put some weight under it to make it more stable. If you are using a drone for your long exposure, make sure that you are in tripod mode. It will be more stable and fixed in one position, and try to avoid all the little jitters and movements that get from the wind and from the elements outside. No matter if you are doing it in the night or throughout the day, try to get a better framing of your subject of interest, or actually of your scene, and get some moving things in behind or in the frame so you can get that blurry effect that the long exposure photography is known about. Shooting a downfall river, seashore waves, star trails, night traffic, taking advantage of car passing object in the frame to get the desired light streaks. The second and most important thing when doing long exposure photography are ND filters that will stop the light entering your sensor. If you are doing it throughout the day, I would always recommend to use a higher ND stop, just like this ND 2000 for my Mavic 2 Pro or an ND 1000. If you are using this kind of filter for a drone, an ND 512, ND 1000 and mostly the ND 2000 will be perfect for bright day shooting. Depending on your subject of shooting, I would always prefer to get a wider angle lens to get more in the frame while shooting long exposures. Most of the cameras from today and mirrorless cameras can go up to 30 seconds of open shutter. And if you need more, there is also the bulb function. And it will allow you to hold the shutter open as long as you are pressing the shutter button on your camera, on your remote control or smartphone app. For a night scene, an ND 1000 on a pretty fast lens, you could get actually up to 45 seconds of really great exposures and get that light streaks visible in your frame. For day exposures, an ND 1000 could give you up from 5 seconds to 15 seconds of great exposures and get that blurriness in the sea, riverside or wherever you are shooting. An ND 2000 or 1000 for a drone could give you the same results, just make sure that you have no wind at all and you are in tripod mode, and you could go up to 5 to 6 seconds of long exposures. Even a small amount of movements can get you blurred results in your photos. Stopping down your lens for a smaller aperture like f8 will help you extend your shooting time in daylight, even if you own just an ND filter with lower ND stops. In night situations you can also use less ND stops, just like an 6 to 9 ND stop, and extend your shooting with a 5 or 10 second long exposure at night, using kind of a faster lens on your camera. The basic thing to remember: make sure that your tripod or drone is rock steady and that it's not moving at all. Once you got home and imported your footage on your editing machine, there is no so much to do if you get blurred image. Editing your long exposures in post-production could bring you much more vibe if you think that your photo is boring. And lastly, your camera actually doesn't matter. As long as you apply the basics and the right settings, you could actually go also with the Osmo Pocket. Learning the basics makes you better than just owning an expensive camera. That's it guys, start crashing your long exposure photography with these simple tips. Not your drone. Comment section down below if you have any questions. Thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe with the bearing icon to get notified every time I make a new video, and see you on my next one.